Welcome, everyone, to the Kenya Wantam Notum Movement, or KWM podcast.
Great to be here.
Today, we're doing a deep dive into, well, the movement itself, the Kenya Wantam Notum Movement, and its very distinct take on Kenyan politics and leadership right now.
Yeah, it's a perspective that's definitely making waves.
Absolutely. Our conversation is grounded in an article from the KWM website, and the title really grabs you. Raila is in, Gachagua is out, and you're still broke.
Doesn't mince words.
Not at all. It sets out a really clear, urgent message about leadership in Kenya. So our mission today is basically to unpack that the core arguments, the critiques, the solutions KWM proposes.
Right. Understanding what they see as the root problems, how they think it affects everyday people, and crucially, their call to action.
Exactly. And just a quick note before we dive into the source material, this article has a very strong voice, a very specific viewpoint.
Definitely.
Our job here is to present that viewpoint, the KWM's arguments, fairly and impartially. We want to convey the ideas clearly so you, our listener, can understand where they're coming from.
It's about understanding their message, not necessarily us endorsing every point, but presenting it accurately.
Precisely. And that name, Wantam Notum, it's key. It basically means we don't want them. It signals this call for a fundamental change, not just shuffling the deck. We'll explore that.
Okay, sounds good. Where do we start?
Well, let's start where the article starts with Raila Odinga. It opens with this really striking observation about what it calls dramatic shift in his role. What's the KWM saying here?
So the KWM piece points out a big change from Raila's past image. You know, he's no longer the man shouting from Kamukunji, that famous spot for rallies.
Right, the protest image.
Exactly. Or waving fists. Instead, the article claims he's now inside, fully embedded in the corridors of power, as they put it.
Inside the system he used to challenge.
Strolling halls he once, quote, stormed, sharing tea with people he once called crooks. That's the picture they paint.
And his voice.
That's changed too, according to the article. Not megaphones from rooftops anymore, but it whispers behind closed doors. So less public resistance, more red carpets, protocol, and policy retreats.
It's a stark contrast they're drawing.
Very deliberate, and they take it further.
How so?
The article flat out states Raila is acting as Kenya's unofficial vice president, and crucially, it says he got this position without your vote.
Okay, that without your vote part is pretty pointed. It really highlights the KWM's concern about, well, democratic legitimacy, doesn't it?
It does. It raises that fundamental question for any democracy. What happens when a major opposition figure moves into such a powerful, even if unofficial, role without a clear public mandate from an election?
Yeah, it challenges how we think power should work in a representative system. Does influence gained behind closed doors carry the same weight as power granted by voters?
That's exactly the issue the KWM analysis puts on the table. It suggests a possible gap between what people vote for and how power actually operates. Transparency, accountability, those are the principles being questioned here.
Right. So after laying out this view of Raila, the article then pivots to Gachagua. And it describes another dramatic shift, but in the opposite direction.
Yes, quite the contrast. The KWM depicts Gachagua's journey from being the loudest defender of Mount Kenya, a really strong position, to now being cast as the national scapegoat.
The scapegoat? For what?
Pretty much everything, according to the source. Inflation, health crises, blackouts. The blame is laid at his door.
Wow. And the contrast is with his previous standing.
Sharply. They recall him being unshakable just last year, whereas now he's unwanted, even a punchline in Parliament. But, and this is key, the KWM argues this isn't just accidental political misfortune.
Okay, so what's the implication? That it's strategic.
That's the suggestion. The source frames it as the system always needing a distraction, needing someone to throw to the wolves. It's basically prompting you, the listener, to ask, is this real accountability, or is it just devoting attention?
It makes you think about how political narratives are constructed, who gets blamed, and why. Is it about fixing problems or just managing public perception?
Exactly. The KWM wants people to look past the immediate drama and see if there's a pattern, a mechanism at play that serves the system itself rather than the public.
So we have Raila supposedly in and Gachagua out. How does the KWM article connect these shifts, particularly regarding the relationship between Raila and President Ruto?
This is where the KWM really sharpens its critique. It notes that these two leaders once couldn't even sit in the same room. Fierce rivals.
Yeah, I'll remember that.
Right. But now the article claims they exchange glances in budget meetings, they share strategies, a complete turnaround, seemingly.
And the KWM is skeptical about the reasons given, like for the good of the country.
Highly skeptical. The source asks directly, who benefits? And its answer is blunt. The same families, the same media, the same well-fed elite, not you.
Oof, that's direct.
It is. And this is where they use that analogy you mentioned earlier.
The jerseys one.
Yeah. They switch jerseys, not goals. It's memorable. It suggests the political maneuvering might change the players' colors, but the underlying game, the objectives, remain the same, benefiting the same groups.
And crucially, they link this political game back to the lives of ordinary Kenyans.
Absolutely. The article says people are still buying unga at KSH's 240, still facing empty medicine cabinets at clinics, still ducking when police fire at peaceful protests. The core problems persist, regardless of the alliances at the top.
So the argument is, look past the headlines, look at your own situation. Has anything fundamentally changed for you?
Precisely. It's a call to measure political success not by alliances or rhetoric, but by tangible improvements in people's lives.
Okay, so if it's not just about Raila or Gachagua or Ruto, the KWM article seems to argue the problem is much bigger. Systemic even. They talk about a rotation that never ends.
Exactly. This part really pushes the listener to think critically about their own engagement. The source argues that issues like hunger, failing schools, economic hardship aren't just down to one leader, but to everyone who has played a part.
So a shared responsibility across the political class.
That's the implication. It mentions other prominent figures, Mudavadi, Kalonzo, Karua, saying they're deep in the feast, or masters of negotiation, or just clapping in the background.
And even MPs get called out.
Oh, yes. Described as signing whatever's put in front of them, quote, if there's a tender behind it. It paints a picture of widespread self-interest eclipsing public service.
And the KWM contrasts this with the citizens' experience.
Starkly. It highlights the irony of citizens defending these leaders, arguing online, while personally struggling with overdue rent, poor healthcare access via NHIF, or unemployment.
It sounds like they're trying to break that loyalty cycle.
Definitely. They use that powerful independence analogy. The chains didn't break, they changed design, gold-plated, new slogan, same results. It's a direct challenge. Are you defending a system that just keeps redesigning the chains?
It's asking people to really examine where their political energy is going and whether it's serving their own interests or the interests of the system being critiqued.
It's a call for a serious reality check, looking beyond political affiliations to the actual outcomes.
So let's get to the bottom line, according to the KWM. What does all this mean for the average citizen on the ground? Their answer seems pretty harsh.
It is. The article states, quite bluntly, that citizens pay taxes, then bribes, then still get zero service. It's designed to resonate with common frustrations.
And they give examples, right?
Yeah.
To make it concrete.
Yes, very specific, almost visceral examples linking alleged corruption to service failure. Things like hospitals empty, someone's cousin bought expired medicine, or Red collapsed. The budget was inflated by insiders.
Wow. And about education.
Kids can't learn, ghost schools, fake tenders, unqualified appointees. These examples try to draw a direct line from alleged corruption at the top to tangible failures affecting everyone.
And this leads to that really provocative conclusion they draw about the citizen's role.
Yeah, the line, you're not just a citizen, you're an ATM with a voter's card.
That's incredibly strong language. It suggests people are just seen as resources to be tapped for money and votes, not individuals deserving of services.
It conveys a deep sense of exploitation. The article doubles down. The game is rigged. The cast just changes. It circles back to Raila being a decision maker without a mandate, a quiet conquest, and Gachagua going from bulldog to dustbin.
The core message seems to be, it doesn't matter who's in which chair, the system itself exploits you.
That's the KWM perspective, yes. And it raises that unsettling question. What happens when faith in the whole political process just evaporates? When people feel the system is inherently rigged against them?
Yeah, that's a critical point. Disillusionment can lead anywhere. Which brings us to the KWM's proposed way forward. They don't just critique, they offer a solution, framed as this Wantem Notum idea.
Right. And crucially, they urge people not to just wait for the next election cycle, 2027, calling it their trap.
Why a trap?
Because, the article argues, it feeds into this cycle of waiting for reforms, healing, investigations, promises that are made while, as they put it, the leaders fly out, cash in, laugh.
They describe a pattern the system supposedly relies on. Complain, move on, forgive, vote again.
Exactly. And the KWM says enough of that. This is where they pivot to empowerment. It's a direct challenge to you, the listener, asking, are you really fed up?
Is this really just about Raila or Gachagua, or is it about you and breaking this cycle?
Precisely. And that's where Wantum Notum comes in as more than just a slogan.
What's the core philosophy there?
The article defines it clearly. Wantum Notum means don't replace thieves, remove them. It's about a complete clearing out, not just a substitution.
So no more shuffling the same players.
None. They emphasize ending the feast, saying no hero worship, no recycled revolutionaries, and absolutely no second chances for looters. The lines are drawn very sharply.
Oh, sure.
Like, if you ever accepted a kickback, you don't get to lead. If you ever defended corruption, you don't get to preach. It's an ethical line in the sand.
And they believe people are ready for this.
The source makes a bold claim. Gen Z knows. Millennials are fed up. Boomers are awake, suggesting a cross-generational readiness for fundamental change.
And the ultimate demand.
Uncompromising. You need every looter out. No negotiation, no handshake, no more delays. It's a call for decisive, complete action.
Okay, that's a very powerful message and call to action. And this is exactly where the Kenya Wantum Notum movement invites you, the listener, to actually get involved.
Right, to move from listening to doing.
They encourage you to visit www.wantumnotum.com. You can create an account there. Start sharing your own ideas. Ideas that you think can help change your village, your city, your entire nation.
It's presented as a platform for that collective action they're calling for, turning that frustration and desire for change into concrete suggestions and possibly coordinated effort.
It's about translating that feeling of wantum notum, we don't want them, into practical steps for building something different.
Yeah, shifting from just identifying the problem to actively participating in crafting and implementing the solution, whatever that might look like, starting from the grassroots.
So just to recap the core message we've unpacked from the KWM article today. The argument is that Kenya faces a deep systemic leadership crisis. It's not just about this leader or that alliance, it's the whole setup.
And that this system, regardless of who seems to be in or out, consistently fails the ordinary citizen.
Right. And the solution proposed isn't just changing faces in 2027, but a more radical wantum notum approach, removing corruption and the structures that enable it completely.
It emphasizes that KWM isn't just talk. It aims to be a real movement for change, urging people to stop waiting and demand accountability now.
It's a compelling, if strong, perspective, which leads to a final thought, perhaps something for you, our listener, to reflect on after this deep dive.
Well, given the KWM's very strong call for this collective action, this uncompromising accountability, maybe the question to ponder is, what concrete individual steps could you actually identify or take within your own community, your own circle, that align with that spirit of wantum notum? How can you personally contribute to fostering genuine change, even on a small scale?
That's a great point, bringing it down to the individual level. How does this big idea translate into personal action? To explore these ideas further, connect with others who feel the same way, and become an active part of this conversation and potential movement, we strongly encourage you again. Visit www.wantumnotum.com.
Create your account, join the discussion.
Share your ideas. Help shape the change you want to see in your village, your city, the nation. Thank you so much for listening to the Kenya Wantum Notum Movement, KWM Podcast.